Hey folks, Steve here with another Dark Valley video. This turn we're going to be looking at turn 30, and this is actually, I'm starting to record this the same day that I was doing turn 28 and 29, amazingly enough. I'm up late having to, again, keep an eye on some stuff, so I'm managing the game while I'm doing it, and we've got the first turn of 1944, and that's actually important for a couple of reasons. So we are, well, I guess I'll say the modal chit, or the Manstein modal chit, is now modal, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Modal. If I use the modal chit, Manstein chit, whatever, in 1944, once I use it, it is gone. It is gone. And so I don't get the, like, I'll use it now, and then a few turns later I'll get to use it. Once I use it, it is gone, as the axis. Additionally, we will always now roll one die for rail movement, which is not good. And the Soviet air can now use up to 4 air support points per combat, not just 2. Now we still have the same number right now, but 4 per combat, really ends up being super useful in shifting the odds for the Soviets. We really need to, only have a couple of really important combats for that to be a huge deal. So it's just more valuable overall for us. We get that flexibility. And then, let's see what else. Well, obviously, we're not getting as many HQ activations per turn, but more importantly, we're going to have some nasty withdrawals this turn for the Axis. So we're going to lose the 9th Panzer Division. I got to find that guy wherever he is. 1 Panzer Army HQ and 1 air unit and its base. So this turn is not going to be very not a good time, in fact, for the Axis. Now, there are a couple of reinforcements here, but they're really support markers, I guess you would say. So the Soviets are getting yet another artillery, and then we're getting an upgrade to the assault marker for the Axis. Yet again a upgrade. So we've had, you can see the difference there, a +2 on attack, +3 on defense is now a +4 on defense. Upgrade of equipment there. So that is better for us, obviously, now, and we'll look to make use of that. Get arranged here. So yeah, that will help the Axis a good bit when they can use it, so that'll be interesting. So yeah, we're going to have the replacements. We are still getting a decent number for the Axis, and then the Soviets get their big old pile. The Soviets aren't going to get any more increases in their production until they take back Leningrad and Kiev. So, I think we're running high on what we've got, and we're going to have to keep up the momentum for the Soviets. Now that they've taken Smolensk, it wasn't a huge breakout, but that critically important place to get units in is going to be good. Now, it might be an opportunity to be thinking about, can I take guys off the map via rail movement? Can I create a Stavka reserve to leap out of Smolensk? I'll have to look at that to see if they can be reinforced in Smolensk while it's adjacent to an enemy. They might be able to do that, though stacking there is a little tight. So yeah, so the reinforcements are really going to be easy. And then we'll look to do the replacements. The withdrawals are going to suck again. I covered that, and then we'll get some stuff moving around with the strategic movement. Not expecting a whole lot to happen there. So yeah, there you go. So we'll be taking care of that. Now I realized the last video I made was super duper short compared to others, just because I ratcheted through that turn. There wasn't a whole lot to do due to the way the chits came out. We'll see if anything's different in this turn. It might take a little bit longer, so we'll see. Okay, we'll be right back. Alright, so let's take a look at the action chit recipe for this turn. In terms of the replacements, by the way, obviously the Axis is topping itself off wherever it can, and it is still putting units back on the board now. Still, while the Soviets are just sort of churning and replacing and churning and replacing, and they're pretty much fine anyhow. So it's kind of weird to see, you know, both armies kind of stabilizing, even with the fact that the Axis is having to pull stuff off for the Western Front. I did end up pulling out the HQ that was near Rostov and the air unit that was sort of around there, and have tried to just do as much coverage as possible, but we're only working with a couple of Panzer HQs now. So this is the what we got. We have the modal chit that will be a one and done for the rest of the game. We have our move or combats, both of them still being the Or chits, and one Panzer army. I chose the 4th near Smolensk because the Axis desperately wants to try to fix the situation. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. While the Soviets get their move, their combat Stavka Zhukov, and deep battle. And I actually think that right now might be a good time to try to do deep battle. And so I think we're actually, instead of doing move, and I know I'm prone to doing that, I think now is the time. Now that we've taken Smolensk, we've got, you know, the Axis a little off guard. We're going to do deep battle and try to smash some more Axis units, and then move to either encircle forces around here, around the Stavka HQ, either surround them or put them in a state where trying to reform a line is going to take a lot more movement, which, you know, even if we can't destroy units, if they have to move back far enough, then that puts us in an okay position to continue the advance forward and everything else that's going on. So whatever we can do here. So yeah, I'm going to do deep battle instead of movement as the first chit. I don't have anything in the Stavka Reserve, so I've basically given up my Stavka Reserve again. I could not really find anything to bring off the line that really made sense at this point, unfortunately. That's just the way it is right now. So we'll do that, and yeah, we'll do it up. So I'll stop here, and when we come back, we will have done deep battle. Again, we're looking at this area around here in range of Stavka. The Stavka HQ's got to move up, but still we've got enough stuff in range that we're going to hopefully see some activity in that sector. Very important. All right, we'll be back. Okay, we've got plenty of action going on here. We have started to make a breakout. We've forced some more retreats, which then enabled us to make use of post-combat move to snake around. There were some critical points here where reduced units or this stack in general don't have Zocs. This unit retained a Zoc when it retreated, but that still opened up enough space that I could start sifting units in there. And now this is a pretty gnarly situation for the Axis, because now things are kind of lined up for if the Soviets want, if they can get their combat Stavka Zhukov, then they're very likely going to be able to make concentrated combats even further around. Now the only problem is I took Zhukov and I sent him down south, but now I haven't been making progress on the south, and the Stavka HQ can only reach so far, and I still want to be able to get these guys poking another hole down here, and so I've got to try to keep them in range. You know, if I don't make a huge amount of progress here, but make progress around here, maybe that's okay. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. Now they've got the Axis has some reserve units back here that can kind of help plug in the gap a little bit, but the forces there are so weak that I think what's probably going to happen is the Axis line on the north is going to have to retreat, and obviously our guys in the south just have to pull back as much as possible. So yeah, things are looking pretty rough indeed. So we'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to go to the cup, and we will see exactly what happens here. And I got to be careful, because if I, like, modal is useful, but I don't know that I can really use him yet, because then he'll be out of the game, so maybe we'll hold off on it. Alright, pulling the next chit. It is, okay, so Axis move. I guess it's a good thing. I mean, who knows what I would have pulled if I pulled, or if I decided to do Soviet movement first, but here we go. So the Axis can move. What are they going to do? Well, this whole situation down here is screwed up. They're going to have to pull back somehow. Now they've got Zoc problems. That's going to be one thing. So it's going to be a disjointed effort here to try and get something going where we can salvage the situation. But the Axis does have an opportunity to correct the situation, I guess. So that's what we'll do. It's going to take some time, but when we come back, we'll see what the Axis could do to fix this potentially damning situation. Okay, so this is after the Axis move, and I kept myself anchored up here since this is relatively stable, shifted these guys back so that I could actually get some units moved down here to kind of help plug in the gaps now, since the line is being extended there. And then just elsewhere on the line, I managed to pull back a little bit everywhere. So yeah, still trying to bring this right flank back, but I maybe should have pulled back more. I could have. I didn't. But the problem is, it's going to start to be, harder to maintain, and at some point I'm going to have to give up the Crimea, and I can either try to fight out the Crimean Peninsula down here, which I've managed to still hold on to, or I'm going to have to abandon it and save the units, but I'm not sure either or is a great situation. Anyway, getting tired. Alright, well, that's the move. We're going to go to the cup and see what comes out. And we get Combat Stav Kazhukov. Well, we're not in a great position for this, but we might still be able to make some attacks in some areas in this, like, salient that we've formed out here. So I'll have to look at that to see what we're able to do. I could probably make an attack right up there that could succeed decently well and just continue to push on the Axis there. So I'm going to take myself off camera and figure out what else there is I can do there, and then we'll come back. Still haven't gotten Soviet move yet, interestingly enough, but we'll see that come out eventually. Yeah, unfortunately the combats didn't go well. I just don't have enough combat factors in all the places to get above 2-to-1 odds with the assault marker in place. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to give that one up. It feels bad because we're making so much progress, but that's the reality we got. So, going back to the cup, and we get this would be Axis Combat. Now, I don't think there's much to be done here. I do not think there's any place... yeah, I don't think there's any place that we can really attack and have any real chance. So that's going to be Axis Combat. It's right, nice and straightforward. And then we've got 4th Panzer activation. Now, here's I could make some improvements here. So I'm going to take myself off camera. I'm going to try to fix up the line a little bit and try to improve it. So we'll be right back. Okay, well, that is done. Basically all I really did was I was able to move a unit with this HQ out of this up here to try to help defend that hex, and so the Axis has been able to kind of cover the exploitation, but in doing so they've had to give up some position, right? So when you really look at it, And when you look at the larger map, it's like, hey, you know, Germany's, well, Poland. Poland is not that far away, so we're having to give up several hexes just to maintain our line and keep things going. So we're just going to have to watch as the line shortens and lengthens along the way, depending on how we have the unit situated. Now, the only cups, or the only chits left in the cup, are logistics and Soviet move. The logistics is going to have no bearing on anything, so I'm just going to put that out here, and we'll just take care of the Soviet move next. Now, the Soviet move is going to be really simple and easy to follow, right? We're going to just shift everything to the front line, and what will be nice for the Soviets is at the beginning of next turn, on turn 31, we can again pick deep battle. We won't have to move because everything should be in pretty good position to do what we want to do next. So we're on a different tempo now, maybe, where we can start turns with combat. I'd like that and would like to keep that going, so we'll have to see. Yeah, and that's the end of the turn, guys. We are at 31 victory points, so we'll see how it goes. I will show the map position after Soviet move before we close out the video, so I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are, post-Soviet movement, just at the end of the turn. You can see we've now moved everybody up to the front line, and very importantly, I've gotten Stavka at least a little bit more situated, or situated better, in my opinion anyway, or my hope that it is better. And so I've got, you can't see it quite as well, I've got a lot of the guard armies here, and with additionally with artillery support within range of Stavka to do additional damage. We've got a lot of artillery over here. We've got a lot of forces sort of, you know, reinforcing the salient that's been sort of cleared up now, but we've got enough combat factors stacked around that I really think next turn is going to be a pretty good one for the Soviets, and we're almost pushing the Axis back into the Pripyat marshes, and that's maybe where we can start to disrupt some of the overall situation. So we'll have to see on that. Yeah, so we're going to end the turn now. The only thing I'm going to do here that, you know, I haven't really been showing on camera is I am going to start moving the Axis supply depots. I have been moving them. I haven't really been showing it, but now it's sort of important. There are some weird situations that can come up with the supply markers being cut out of supply and a bunch of issues. So I'm moving them back as the line moves back, and I'll be rolling the dice and moving that. I won't show that on camera, no big deal. So yeah, there we go. End of turn 30. 30 turns. End of turn 30 at 31 victory points. Still in good shape from that perspective for the Axis, though we still got a real long cut here. In the next video, we'll look at turn 31. I've got some Soviet reinforcements I got to take out of a baggie and get situated, but we'll be hitting that one soon. I'm not sure when I'll get to record that one. I've still got some somewhat free time, not really free time on my hands. I could keep going, but I've already done a couple of videos tonight and gotten us a head start ahead on some other stuff, and I might even record tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I'll put this together on my computer, and we'll get it uploaded to YouTube. So thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll keep playing through. Until next time, take care and keep on gaming.